So I like to start with a QR code. This is a flow code. It is just a brand. You've seen it on the NFL is using it now, a few others. Blink is another one, BLINQ. It is a free way to get your own QR code. And I like it because it is a plug and play. You just drop in your information. This was at a conference I was at in the fall. And many people didn't do anything with it. And I love the idea that there would be this sticker. And for me, I put it on the back of my phone. And on the back of my phone, I can just show it to people and then they scan it. So this to me is a great sales tool, having an electronic QR code that people can just scan. Back in the old days that some of you might remember, the old Palm Pilots and Bluetooths had a way that you could press a button and exchange business cards. And I just thought that was brilliant. It was a sad thing when the iPhones and the Google Androids didn't have that. So this is my version of that. So folks, as sales leaders, we've got to be constantly helping our people be better with their sales performance and their sales calls and their sales prospecting and their sales pitches. A lot of mistakes people make going out the gate is they don't think they have to practice a sales pitch. They haven't identified their value proposition. They haven't identified the customer needs. And all this leads to just a waste of time and a disaster. We all have horror stories about a bad sales call, a sales call that just was not where it needed to be. Right now, I know you've gotten the same things on LinkedIn that I've gotten, and that is people who send you an email on LinkedIn and they're like, hey, have you ever thought about writing a book? Well, it shows that you haven't really done any homework on me because I have a bunch of them out there. And it sounds snotty to say that in your head, but it's clear that these people have not done their homework researching who would be a prospective client. And sometimes when they're using that spray and pray approach for sales, we see that. So I think it's really important right away to identify the value proposition we're providing. Now, this might be crystal clear to you, but it may not be crystal clear to your sales teams. So whenever I work with organizations, whether it's associations, nonprofits, whatever it is, I ask them, so what do you want your clients to understand about your value proposition? You may know it. You know it cold. It's on your lanyard. It's on your placard in the bathroom. It's on your desk. It's on the walls. But do your clients understand your value proposition? And there's nothing worse than having a client say, oh, we just hired, somebody to do this. And you say, we do that. And they go, oh, we didn't know that. So make sure your clients understand your value. And what I like to do in this is fill out the bubbles. So with your teams, you can ask them the question, and this is per product, per service, per offering. For what it is we do, let's say we are selling 6 feet long steel rods. The value we provide is what? Well, we provide a solid quality piece of steel. Okay. Can you cut it to specifications? We can do that. We can cut to specifications. We can modify this. We can customize this. We make sure our delivery is when we say it is. We have 100% guarantee on delivery rates. Okay, that's important in a time when supply chain issues are increasingly frustrating for a lot of people. What else are you providing in terms of value? And again, what is the value to that person? So with Jill's group, you might say that we are providing, Julie's group, you might say we're providing insurance. All right, well, different people need different insurances at different times in their life. So what is the value to that particular person? And knowing going in what their demographic is. So if you're 75, you may not need life insurance. You may not have to worry about leaving anything to kids. You just may not have to worry about it. You may need long-term health insurance. You might need short-term health insurance. You might need other different kinds of insurances. But if we don't know something about you going in, then our pitch to you is not going to be strong. Now, I just want to get this out of the way right away. Folks, lots of people do not like making sales calls. And by sales calls, I'm not just talking about picking up the phone. And I just got a robocall right before this started where somebody called up with the automatic voice thing, and that just makes people crazy. Unfortunately, those calls have increased the rejection rate. So for human beings making sales calls, either on the phone or face-to-face or reaching out, there are reasons why people don't love doing this. And again, One of my friends says, if I can get them on the phone, I can close them. Okay, well, then what are you doing to get them on the phone? But here's a couple reasons, 7 reasons why people don't like to make sales calls. First, the fear of rejection. Lots of people don't like to be told no. None of us like to be told no. However, no is just, if you prospected them well and you know what their needs are and they're still telling you no, then a reason might be, why are they telling you no? Is it because they don't understand your company? Is it because they don't trust your company? Is it because they don't trust the product or the service? Is it because they can't afford it right now? Why is there a no in place? And then a lack of confidence. Some people don't feel, there's a lot of feelings involved with sales, that their sales skills and abilities are strong enough. They might say, well, I'm really an introvert, although people think I'm an extrovert, and I'm just not so confident when I make those sales calls. Okay, if you are coaching a sales team, the biggest way for people to overcome a lack of confidence is to do it. It comes in the doing. And I'll share with you a military example. When I was in the Navy, we had to jump off a 10-meter tall tower. Now, that doesn't sound bad because you're jumping into a pool of water. But to get to the top of the 10-meter tower was this rickety staircase thing that was a spiral staircase made out of wood. And every time you stepped, it would creak. And there's all these creaking noises. And there's 50 people climbing this ladder at the same time. And you're getting up to the 10-meter tower where you could basically touch the roof of the building. And then when you look down, you didn't just see the 10 meters. You also saw the 40 feet of the pool and the bottom of the pool below that. So you weren't seeing the surface of the pool. You saw way below that. And I did not want to jump off this tower. I had never thought I was afraid of heights until that moment. And I looked down and I did not want to jump off the tower. It is supposed to simulate jumping off a Navy ship. And here's the problem. They jumped us in pairs. And I looked over, and the person they have paired me up with is a guy I had known before we went to the Naval Academy together. We both came out of Dallas. I had met his parents. And I looked over at him and I thought, oh, I do not want him telling his parents that I chickened out on the 10-meter tower jump. So I took a breath, closed my eyes, and jumped. And here's what I learned while jumping. First, once you realize you can do it the first time, the second time is not scary at all. So you jump, you get in the water, you're like, okay, that wasn't so bad. Confidence happens from doing. It happens when you make the first one. And then they said, who wants to jump again? I'm like, I'll jump again. It was actually kind of fun. And at the end, I'm going to review some reasons, some ways people can turn sales calls into more fun activities and help them perceive it as a fun activity. So confidence, folks, comes from the doing. Some people perceive sales as pushy. They may have had an experience with a salesperson who was pushy or aggressive, and that gives them the idea that making sales is, well, icky. Number 4, some people don't like confrontation. For some people, the idea of having to maybe negotiate with clients or say, hey, you may not think that you need long-term care insurance, but, what would happen if? And so they don't like that idea that it might be kind of a conflict situation. And I don't think it needs to be a conflict. For me, sales is about helping people find solutions that they need. And in some cases, it is helping them find solutions that they didn't even know they need. Folks, until iPhones came out, I didn't realize I couldn't live without one. That whole theory is called Say's law. Supply creates its own demand. So for some things, we can't expect people to know what the product is if they've never heard of the product. For many people, they don't know the difference between long-term insurance and short-term insurance. They don't know the difference for care. They just don't know. So we have to help educate people. Some people, frankly, just prefer to do other things, anything other than making sales calls. They will find a reason to procrastinate because they just don't want to do it. So my solution for that is ask your teams, how long does a sales call actually take you? 3 minutes, 5 minutes? The prep time takes 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Put it on the calendar as a 10-minute thing. And then you look at it and say, really, I'm going to I'm going to think about it all day long because I didn't do it because it would take 10 minutes out of my day. That just makes no sense. Let's get that knocked out. Some people have had negative past experiences. And for some people, if you've been in sales long enough, you've had a negative experience. It's not all going to be sunshine and roses and sparkles and sprinkles and unicorns. You're going to have a difficult customer or a rejected sale or somebody rude or somebody at the other end of the phone who you don't know. You think that they're sitting at their desk doing work. Well, maybe they're in a crisis situation that you know nothing about. So don't let past experiences or past clients maybe give you a negative perception of future clients. And here's the one that worries me the most. When I talk to sales teams, sometimes I get salespeople who don't like the product. They don't like the product. I took a client to a steakhouse, and it was a nice place. It's lovely. There's lovely little lights. There's lovely wine. The menu is exquisite. And when we asked the wait person about the specials of the day, and we asked her opinion, we said, what do you think? Now we're at a steakhouse. She said, oh, I don't believe in eating animals. Okay. That's clearly somebody who is not excited about the product they are selling. And that made our dinner a little bit less enjoyable because if she doesn't believe in the product, why should we? So we need to help people believe in the products we are selling. And this can be a little bit challenging because not everybody might be there. So that's something that we can maybe work with. Okay, so 7 things you can do to help coach your teams for more effective prospecting, maybe a higher appointment rate, and mostly a higher close rate, because that's what we're all about. So number 1, set the goals. And I know I harp on goals all the time. I think a lot of people start out the new year with great ideas on goals, but then they kind of fall by the wayside. So I'm going to reiterate some of the goal setting techniques I use all the time with my teams because I think it might be helpful, especially if you're working with your folks. So first off, it's the first of the year. What are your goals for the month? Do you have your top 5 goals identified? And if not, today is a good day to do it. It's the first of the month. And then do your team members know your goals for this month? How can they support you if they don't know what your goals are? If you say our goal for the month is to increase sales closes by 5%, but you don't tell them that, and at the end of the month, you're mad because you didn't meet your expectations, it's your fault, not theirs. So what are the goals for the month? So I just made this up for another program, and this is part of the 12-month business success and accountability planner that you're all getting if you haven't gotten it already. So for January, maybe, personal and professional, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to clean the house. I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to make $100,000 more and negotiate world peace. I get excited when I make my goals. So you get to have your own goals, whatever you think you should have. So maybe you want to increase your sales numbers by 5%. Maybe you want to decrease your time in the office by an hour a day, which means your emails have to be more efficient. Maybe whatever your goals are for the month. And then we map them out. So this is what the monthly pages look like for every single month in that 12-month business accountability plan. And folks, I use it every single month, and I use it for all of my clients. So this is what theirs look like. When I take notes for clients, I drink my own Kool-Aid. I use my own stuff because it actually works. So I encourage you today to map out the goals you want for this month and make sure that they are consistent with what it is you really need to be doing. Many people get waylaid by other goals. And for that, it becomes, hey, somebody's got their microphone on. I'm just going to ask you to turn that off if you possibly can. That would be terrific. If you don't mind, that'd be awesome. So thanks. And then what do you want to do more of this month? And let me walk you through what this looks like to me. What do I want to do more of this month? Well, so more of this month, and I've got my own list, and it's the first of the month. So I'm reviewing what I did, what I said I was going to do last month. And then I'm reviewing what I want to do more of in February. And so I look at the calendar and I say, okay, am I doing the activities I want to be doing this month? What do I want to be doing more of? Do I want to be doing more webinars? Do I want to be doing more virtual programs? Do I want to be doing more executive coaching? What do I want more of? And then what do I want to do less of? What really isn't paying off for me? What isn't great ROI? So look at your teams and ask them the question and say, hey, what is working? What's not? When I first started out in real estate, my broker owner, great guy, great couple, owned the team. He literally handed us all the white pages, and said, start at the A's and just work your way through. And I thought, well, I'm never going to make it to the M's. I thought this, so I just opened up in the middle. I thought, really, I'm just a cold call based on this. And it looked like something out of, Mad Men or a movie or whatever. And that to me was not the way to prospect, but that was 25 years ago. So what do we want to do less of? What we want to do less of is less wasted time. How can we waste less time and increase our close rates? And then what do I resolve to delegate or outsource? For some people, if they have appointments with people that is set by somebody else, they make those appointments. So for you, if you're not great at making the appointments, get somebody to make those appointments for you. And you can do this. There are virtual assistant services out there. There's one called fancyhands.com. I use them. I'm not an affiliate with them. I don't have anything to do with their business success, but I do use them. For $29 a month. I get 5 20-minute jobs that they will do for me, which winds up being, $6 a job. And maybe they can set appointments for me. Maybe they can do research on a client for me. Maybe they will pull up that person's LinkedIn profile, so I've got the information right in front of me. So what can I do? What can I outsource? What can I delegate so that I'm more effective doing what I need to be doing? And then think about some of those projects that you just have hanging over your head. What are you going to complete this month so it gets it off your plate? You're happier. Other people are happier. Get things off your plate so that you don't have to worry about things. That would be fantastic. And then who are you going to contact this month and ask them for advice? I'm a big fan of constantly learning, but also constantly reaching out to other people. Do I do enough of it? No. I don't know anybody who does, because it's hard sometimes. You get busy and you get so tied up into day-to-day activities that you forget to be a little bit strategic. So who are we going to contact for advice? And you may contact, just a sales guru like Carolyn Strauss is on this call today. She has a terrific program called Dollars Per Minute. And her program helps people think about how they can sell more in minute by minute, because she had to do that when she was on the Home Shopping Network. So when you think about this, who are you going to call for advice? And ask them and say, hey, can I call you for advice? I promise to take no more than 7 minutes of your time. 7 minutes people will give you. If you say an hour, people don't like that. And people don't like the phrase, hey, can I pick your brain for an hour? It makes it seem cheap. So just ask people for advice. And then who are you going to reach out to? 3 people a month, or 3 people per week, or 3 people per day who are decision makers or clients. And keep in mind, you don't have to be selling all the time. I love the sales aspect, but when I call up a client and go, how are you? How's everything going? And then I give them an update on me, then we've got a relationship. It's not, hey, do you need any more of my stuff? It's not that. It is, how do we make sure that we've got relationships that are moving forward? And then I use this is at the end of every month in the 12-month planner. It's a monthly action plan. And again, this is the anti-procrastination tool. If I know I need to do something every single day of the month. So right now, and some of you have seen this, it's on Facebook. I resolved at the beginning of the year, my big New Year's resolution was to skim a book every single day. And I want to hold myself accountable by putting notes about the book on Facebook every single day, Saturdays, Sundays, every single day. So what's great about this is in the monthly action plan, what I did is I started out the month of January by, under task, I wrote the name of the book I was skimming, and then whether or not and the author. So that keeps me on task. I also use the monthly action plan for things I know I really need to get done. So if I really need to write a proposal, I pull another page out of this and I write that proposal. That's my top priority. And sometimes, look, I'll share with you, I don't like writing proposals. If I have to write a proposal, it means you're thinking about me, but you're not sure you're hiring me, which means I'm in competition with somebody else. And I don't really like that position. I feel like I'm not in a great position to do that. So I just don't like doing it. Are my proposals good? They're okay. They're good, but it takes time. So how much time in minutes does it take? Well, a good proposal will take me about an hour and a half. So that's 90 minutes. And once I see it there in 90 minutes, I go, okay, 90 minutes. I can either procrastinate all day about it, or I can just get it done. 90 minutes, get it done. Make a sales call. 5 to 7 minutes, get it done. Maybe close out an invoice, 3 minutes. So for those things you really don't want to do, having minutes attached to them takes care of that procrastination in our head. Once we look at it and say, really, I'm going to procrastinate about a job that's going to take me 3 minutes, that just makes no sense. So number 2, provide training and a sales mindset with the resources people need in order to do well. Okay. One of my favorite books on this, I'm a shameless fan of Mark Hunter. His book, A Mind for Sales, is a great tool. It's a mind for sales. It is how to get people thinking about sales and getting people into the right mindset so that they are attacking it in the best possible way. I'm a huge fan of Mark Hunter, and he is cheerful every single day. The guy is just unstoppable, and he sees the good, and he sees the positivity, and he sees the optimism in everything. So help your team with support and guidance as they work to improve their sales conversations. And what that means is, hey, let's do a sales call. Let's get together and do a sales call and get that excitement going and be excited about the products and the services we are offering. And that might mean doing it as a group. Hey, who does a great sales call and they wouldn't mind doing it in front of everybody else? Okay, that's very scary for lots of people. Some people need individual coaching on their sales calls, and some people just need help with different prospects. So number 3, prospect better. Folks, long gone are the days of the white pages. Thank goodness. We do not need to be just sifting through the white pages to look for people to call. No, we need to do we need to create lists of very targeted people who are our best audience. These are the people who can best buy from us. These are the people whose problems we solve. These are the people who are a good fit for what it is we do. So how do you do that? So I use Sam Richter's Intel Engine. He's at sam@samrichter.com, and it's the Intel Engine. And his Intel Engine allows me to search for the people I want to contact. He has a new feature out where there is a list building feature. And I love this a lot because they will go find the prospects for you. Prospecting better to me is a multi-step prospect. First, it's finding the right people to contact. Second, it is knowing something about their background so that when I say, hey, William Higgins, awesome. I know that we both went to the Naval Academy, sort of different times, but we did it together anyway. So we've got that in common. Find a commonality, find a place to go, and then look at where their organization is. So when I prospect, I want to know about the person I'm calling. I want to know about the company they work for. I want to know about the past companies they work for. And I want to know about the industry they're in right now and the problems they're having. Now, I can do that using Sam's Intel Engine. I can also outsource that and say, find me everything about what's going on with ExxonMobil right now, because they just came in at good profits for last quarter, and I'm calling somebody on ExxonMobil, so I'd like to know a little bit more about what's going on with their business. Prospect better. And when we prospect, ask questions. It used to be a question to ask, and now it's not. You can't ask the question, what's keeping you up at night? That presumes that something is keeping people up at night, and it just doesn't make any sense. You should already know what their pain points are before you call them. So one of the things I do again is I research the industry, and I might send a note. I might send a note to William in Portland, Maine, and say, hey, I just saw that Maine just passed some legislation on something that's near and dear to you, which is what's going on with the homeless population. I thought you might know. And now all of a sudden he perceives me as being a partner instead of a vendor in that relationship. I want to provide value, not just when I'm selling them something, but at all times. So a few things: use targeted lists, create targeted lists of your prospects based on things like the industry, the company size, the location, and specific needs or those pain points. Know that going in, and then research those prospects. Make sure you know before you pick up that phone or before you meet with them what's going on so that you can tailor your sales pitch and figure out how you can solve their problems. And then personalize the approach. Make sure that this is a personalized business. This is the BLT sandwich. This is you doing business with people who believe, like, and trust you. So personalize that. And then you can utilize social media and networking events. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But some of the networking events I've been to have people all from the same industry trying to pitch each other. You've all been to those things. You've been to the BNIs where everybody is in real estate or insurance, or you've been to the BNIs where everybody is a home builder or whatever. That's not very helpful. You need to go to where your clients are. And that may be well outside of your comfort level, but also well outside of what you've been thinking about in the past. And then practice. Folks, I got interviewed by Hugh Hewitt, and he asked me, he said, why do you think so many people struggle with public speaking? And I told him, I think the reason they struggle is because they don't practice, or they think they practice, but they really don't. They'll think a few things through, but it's very different actually saying the words to an audience. So you have to practice on people. You have to practice on your coworkers, practice on your boss. If you can do the pitch in front of your boss and you can do it smoothly, that's fabulous. And I love scripts. If you need scripts, we can help, but phone scripts, email scripts, just to give people the words they need. When I first started talking to people about referrals in the real estate world, I picked up Bill Cates's systems on referrals because I needed the words he used in his books in my head. And I didn't realize it at the time, but that was my way of trying to figure out a script and make sure that I was covering the key points in my conversations with potential clients. And that's partly utilizing those referrals. Referrals are the greatest way ever to get business, but a referral is a newborn baby. It's a kitten. It's a puppy. It's a cake that just came out of the oven. It's all the good things, but you got to cherish it. You got to nurture it, and you have to work it. And then whoever gave you that referral, they are owed by you updates on how things are going. And that's how you keep that referral network working as well. Now, a lot of salespeople say, I don't really have to deal too much with the marketing people. They do their thing, we do ours. This is a very big disconnect in a lot of organizations. You need to know what the current marketing initiatives are so that you can address them. There's nothing worse than there's worse things, but it's not good. When you're on a sales call with someone and they say, yeah, I just saw this new thing on TV, and you're like, what? And you're surprised by your own company's marketing. It makes you look silly. So a few things. Know before you're talking to your clients and before you're coaching your teams, who our ideal clients are. And then why do we love working with them? And then what do they need from us? And how do we find them? And how are we keeping in touch with them? Is that us? Is that marketing? Is that advertising? And how do our top clients know we care about them? And are we communicating with our clients, our current clients, enough? Our current and future clients? The answer most days is no, we're not. We're not doing enough follow-up. Nobody does enough follow-up. I don't do enough follow-up. How often do our clients hear from us on a personal as well as a mass level? And how are we doing things well? Are we doing good emails? Are we doing good newsletters? Are we doing flyers? Are we holding face-to-face meetings? I know some financial companies who hold client events, and they'll bring in outside people so that their clients get a value add. And it doesn't do anything for them. They're not trying to sell anything. They're just trying to provide a value add and a client touch point. Are we taking great clients to a dinner? Are we doing a quick check-in with Zoom? Are we making the phone calls? What are we doing? And then if you had an extra budget for marketing or follow-up, and think about it as follow-up, where would you spend it? What would you do? If you had $10,000, if you had $100,000, and think 10 times, where would you spend those initiatives? And do your sales teams know what the marketing teams are doing? That's the big question. So let's overcome the objections, which we all get. When you're on a sales call, there's going to be objections. So how do we help our teams have the right tools and the right resources to address those common issues? Because if they don't know, it makes them more reluctant to make the call. So we need to have a list of what's going to happen. And this is what you're likely to hear. And here's what we follow up with. So, okay, follow up. This is probably my favorite part of this program, because follow-up doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be miserable. It can be fun. It can be interesting. It can be personal. It can be all about your personality and your team's personalities. The thing is to do it consistently. So this is my 5-minute follow-up plan. Here's just 15 ways you can follow up with folks. What's most important, and there's a lot of things you can do, but what's most important is just be fairly consistent, Yes, sometimes things get derailed, but just be consistent. You can write a note. You can use a note writing system. Some people say, well, that's terrible. Well, if the option is not doing a note at all, then it's better than nothing. You can forward an article or a video that you think might be helpful to them. One of my friends sent me another consultant who's really well-known book. And he said, hey, I thought this might be helpful with your executive coaching clients. Super nice, super helpful. And I thought, wow, he's really thinking about ways my business can be better. He wasn't selling anything on that. He was just adding value. Ask people before you put them on your CRM list or before you blast them with an email or a newsletter. People do not like to be surprised, and they don't like it assumed that if you have their email, you're going to send them information. And if you've got someone you want to make contact with, ask for an introduction with someone else. People don't do this enough on LinkedIn. I can't even remember last time somebody said, hey, can you introduce me to somebody in your network? And I find it very interesting that we're better about doing it in person, but we could do it more online, and we just need to be doing that more, I think. Just picking up the phone, finding those common interests, like I said, and calling people. Hey, it was nice to meet you. I know, use the phone or text. You can text people. One of the tricks I use at conferences is when I meet people I like, and they'll come up afterwards, maybe talk to me. I say, hey, let's get a picture. And then we take a picture together, and then I send it to their phone. I text it to them. So now it's not in the bulk of emails, the 700 or 10,000 emails we get a day. It's a personal thing that comes from my phone to them, and then we're friends. That's a whole different thing. Sometimes people will send videos. I don't do that so much. I probably should. My problem there is I don't like to do videos, and I don't like to watch videos. So people will sometimes send me videos. Hey, Mary, I just wanted to check in. And I kind of don't watch them because I don't like video, but that's my problem, not other people's problem. Okay, I'm sending a link for helpful resource materials. I did a conference last week, and they said, can we share this with our clients, all these materials you're providing? I said, sure. I said, I am here to serve you, and you are here to serve your clients. If we all do this together, everybody benefits. So sending people helpful resource material is great. And then sometimes just offering a quick brainstorming session can be helpful. And then inviting people to a coffee, whether it's virtual or in person. And I love it. Yesterday, one of my speaker friends called me and said, hey, I'd love it if we could have a virtual coffee. When are you free this week? And I told her, and she said, how about this time? I said, great. And she sent me the Zoom invitation. Boom. A lot of times people say, hey, let's meet for coffee. And then we don't do it. So that gives you no points. So you can do this with coffee. You can do this with wine. You can do this with a 7-Up, whatever works for you, but create a follow-up system. There are specific actions salespeople can take, again, to be better with their clients. And a few of these might be set follow-up reminders so that you know when you need to loop back with somebody. I have my team do the reminders for me. So they may say, hey, remember you told me 3 months ago to remind you to do this. Good. So that's my system. I also will write it in, I know, crazy, a paper calendar. Yep, a paper calendar. And then I personalize the follow-up by saying things like, hey, we talked about 6 months ago about this. I've got a tickler. In the military, we call it a tickler. That's a whole different thing depending on the industry you're in. And I thought I might offer this update. Again, try to keep it to value add, and then offer that value add by providing them with something they can use. And again, this means figuring out what your prospect is interested in. So you go back to that part where you research what's going on in their industry, what's going on with them, what's going on with the company, and give them information they can use. And be timely. If you say you're going to follow up in 6 months, do it in 6 months. Don't wait a year. For some people, they say, oh, I actually heard this a few weeks ago. People said, oh, I don't want to respond too quickly to my clients because I don't want them to think I'm needy. And I just laughed. I said, you realize that they sent out 3 emails, and whoever responds first is going to get the job. I am in the middle of a home renovation. I sent out 6 different requests for painters. 3 responded, 3 never did. The first people who responded and the first people who showed up at my house to look around and give me the estimate, that's who got the job. I thought, okay, you're going to be responsive, and that's what I need. So be responsive. Be persistent and follow up. But again, persistent is not the same thing as being pushy or aggressive. It's important to understand their boundaries and ask them, hey, say, when would it be a good time for me to loop back with you? Would 1 month be good? 3 months? What works best for you? And again, they may be on trip. They may be undergoing a merger and acquisition. So they may say 6 months because they're going to be really busy with other things in the meantime. So again, asking is helpful. Use a variety of communication channels and make sure you know what your clients like best. Most of us are very responsive to texting, but it's also, if you're not in that circle of people you're considered friends, they're going to write the word stop and you're going to be, eliminated. Okay, 6, feedback. When you're coaching your people for sales closures, provide constructive feedback to help them improve and succeed. This doesn't mean being overly critical. What it means is helping people see, during the conversation, did you sense when the energy level started to drop? Did you understand what their objections were? Or, hey, they came up with objections and you were really quick to respond, but you weren't addressing their concerns. You were addressing other concerns, but it wasn't their concerns. And that's where you lost them. So people need that feedback. And then celebrate the successes. Recognize and celebrate what's going well, whether it is through just praise or recognition at an event or incentives. This helps people stay positive, because when you're dealing with rejection every single day, and all of us we're all dealing with rejection, people need to be focused on the positives, especially in sales. They've got to know that what they're doing honestly solves people's problems, and it helps them stay focused on where they want to be. So 8 reasons why making sales calls is fun. A lot of people don't think it's fun, but it can be fun, and you can help your teams make it fun. First, a sense of accomplishment. I have a friend who loves closing sales more than anything. Doesn't care about the paycheck, doesn't care about the commission, just says, boom, when I close a sale, it gives me that great rush. Awesome. For a lot of people, once you get that sale, you're like, yes, those endorphins, they flood your brain, all the dopamine and serotonin, all the happy chemicals flood your brain, and it's awesome. Number 2, building relationships. What I love about working with my clients is when they say, yes, we want you, to me, that's validation of our relationship. Now, there's also clients who don't hire me for 4 or 5 years and we're still close, but it's kind of nice when you get that moment where you feel like your relationship just took a little step forward. And then problem solving. Sales calls oftentimes involve finding solutions. And sometimes there's problems that you say, oh gosh, before I meet with you next month, I thought about this and here's a solution to this problem right now. We don't have to wait till next month. For some people, it's the competition. For some folks, that competitive nature, making sales can be fun and challenging because they're looking to beat those targets. They're looking to get those goals. And some people, I've worked in offices where they put the closures on the board, again, kind of like Mad Men or whatever. And people they live by that board. Whose name is above theirs, whose name is below theirs. They just love that. The earning potential. Sales is still a great, great, great career. And for many people, it is a source of motivation and a really good way to make good income. Opportunities for growth. What I love about sales is we learn every single day. We learn about our clients, we learn about products, we learn about what the challenges are. And I love the idea that it's personal and professional growth. And every single person teaches us something. We may not like the lesson, but we get taught something. There is an element of the unknown. For people who like change and challenge, it's exciting. The unpredictability of what's going to happen at the other end of that phone means that it keeps things fresh, and that helps a lot of people. And then number 8, a sense of purpose. For a lot of people who just love, love, love their products and services, making those sales means they know those clients are going to be better off because they had this conversation with them. So here's these 8 reasons why making sales calls is fun. And if you can help your people focus on at least one of these, hey, what do you enjoy about sales? Oh, I just hate this. I hate this. I get all the negativity. Okay, but what do you like about it? And some of their likes might be in this list. So this is my 5-minute sales plan. For some people, they just need a 1-page refresher. So again, research the customer's needs, know their business, know their industry, know their competition, know their core issues. Number 2, focus on them, the customer, and their customers. Ask good questions, not what keeps you up at night. That to me is just that all that says to me is you didn't do your homework. You have no idea what's actually going on in my world. So ask clarifying, specific, and smart questions, and then suggest good solutions for their needs right now. My dad was working a trade show, and I've been working trade shows. So it's my dad when I was 7 years old, like little pigtails, little freckles, all of that. And I had a couple that was willing to buy a case of floor mats. And my dad had told me, don't sell onesies. Well, 12 came in the case. And I told them that. They really liked it. They were sure they could sell 6. And my dad had told me, don't sell onesies, sell the case. So I got them to where they were going to buy the whole case. And my dad came back and I said, Dad, this couple said they're interested in a case of floor mats. And he said, great. And I said, they're sure they can sell 6 in their store. They're not sure they can buy 12, but they've agreed to take 12. And he looked at me and he said, Mary, write the order for 6, not 12. Okay, now I'm 7 years old. And I had that voice. I said, but Dad, and you can hear the voice, you told me. And he said, Mary, he said, never sell people what they don't want. Lots of people are going to try to upsell people. Don't be one of those people. Help people get what they really want, and don't be those people who constantly try to upsell stuff. So great lesson for 7-year-old Mary. Acknowledge the challenges and provide great options, and then see the issue from their perspective. And you can't do that if you're so worried about the pitch and making the pitch and getting your words out that you're not listening to what they're actually saying. So really, really put yourself in their situation. Understand what's going on for them. I had a call this morning, and a woman was telling me about her event, and about partway through, she said, we were talking to somebody else, and can you believe that they said this? And first, I didn't like the fact that she was kind of negatively talking about somebody else in my industry. And I knew right then I wasn't going to be a good fit for her, but I put myself in her shoes and I said, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be a great fit for you, but let me give you the names of some other people who might be. And here's where their strengths are. And this is what they're going to do for you. So I may not be the right fit for everybody. And I know that, but I also have to make sure that I am helping her by getting her what she needs, even if she's not my client. So trying to put myself in her shoes. Look, I get it. You're in a tough situation. And, what this other person said just seemed to come out of left field. And it was nowhere close to being aligned with your goal and your mission. So you took it a little badly. I get that. So I really don't think I'm probably going to be the help you need, but let me try to help you by giving you somebody else. And then agree to work together if it's a good fit. I'm excited to be your partner as we move forward with this. And then again, follow up, and follow up. There's never too much follow up. There just isn't. So again, you can text the word dog to 66866 for the resources. You can also just go directly to the resources. They are at productiveleaders.com 2023 success. And I think some of you have already done that. This is my contact information. I'm just going to stop sharing.